Okay, in this problem, we're given a graph of two lines, y equals g of x and y equals f of x. And then we have these statements that f, that's with a capital F of x is equal to f of x plus g of x, and that g of x with a capital G is equal to f of x times g of x. And then we're asked to find some function values there. Okay, so let's take a look at A. So it says find f of 2. F of 2. Now, if we want to find f of 2, we're given the definition is f of x plus g of x. So we'll actually be finding f of 2, plus g of 2. Okay, so when we find f of x plus g, or f of 2 plus g of 2, we just simply go to the graph and we look at the values there. So for the function f at 2, it looks like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, goes up 3. So our value there is 3. And then g of 2, go over to 2, and then go up here to, looks like 6, plus 6. So that means f of 2 is equal to 6. Okay. Let's find f prime of 2 for B. So that was A. B, f prime of 2. And we know that f of x is equal to capital F of x is equal to f of x plus g of x. So how would we find the derivative? Well, if you're given that f of x, capital F of x, is equal to little f of x plus little g of x, then how do you take the derivative when you have a sum? Well, it's very easy. You just take the derivative term by term. So this would be f prime of x plus g prime of x. Okay, so we can do that term by term, which means if we're finding capital F prime of 2, then that's going to be little f prime of 2 plus little g prime of 2. So graphically, what does that mean? Since all we could derive these lines. They're pretty easy to derive. But if we say we only have the graph to look at there, what does it mean to be f prime of 2? Well, the derivative is a slope function. So what this is asking is what is the slope of the function f at 2? Okay, so we go to 2, and we look at the slope right there. And since this is a line, straight line, the slope never changes. Sometimes you're going to have curves that do have a changing slope, but this one doesn't. So we can look at the slope here and say, okay, well, it's always the same, and just look at the rise over run. So it goes up 1 and 2 over, up 1 and 2 over. So we know that our slope is rise over run 1 over 2. Okay, so that's equal to 1 over 2. The slope is always 1 over 2 of f of x. Okay, plus g, or little g prime of 2, which is the slope of the g function at 2. So we go to 2, we look here, and now we say, what's the slope there? Well, it's going down as we go from left to right, and it looks like it's going down, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over. So the slope is negative 1. So plus negative 1, which is going to be equal to negative half when we put those together. So capital F prime of 2 is equal to negative 1/2. Okay? All right, so for C, we're asked to find g of 2. Let me get a separate sheet of paper so we can still see the graph there without going away from that. So we're asked to find g of 2. Okay, given that g of, capital G of x is equal to f of x times g of x, then g of 2 is f of 2 times g of 2. Okay, so we go to these values here on the f, the value of f. Remember, this is not slopes. This is not g prime of 2. This is not a derivative. This is just the function value here. So we're looking at the function value at 2, which is 3, and the function value of g at 2 is 6, so we get 18. So g of 2 is equal to 18. Now for our final one, that was C, let's go to D. Our final one says find g prime of 2. So first, what is g prime of x? Okay, well, this one it's a little bit trickier than all the rest of these because we know that g of x is a product of two functions. We've got a function of f times a function of g. So in order to do this, we're going to have to do the product rule. Okay, the product rule says that we have the first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. So the first is f of x times the derivative of the second function, so g prime of x, plus the second times the derivative of the first. So the derivative of the first is f prime of x times the second one. Okay, so this one's a little trickier, but we have all the values already. So what would g, capital G, prime of 2 be? Well, it would be f of 2 times g prime of 2 plus f prime of 2 times g of 2. Okay, let's go to the graph one last time. So this is the function value at 2 of f, which is 3. And then it's the slope of the g function at 2. So here, remember the slope, we found that earlier. It's negative 1 because it goes down 1 over 1. So that's negative 1. Plus, now we have the slope at 2 of the function f. We found earlier that's 1 up 2 over, so 1/2. And then the function value of g at 2, which is 6. Okay, so that's going to be equal to negative 3 plus, what is that? 6 over 2 is 3, so 0. So g, let me get to where you can actually see. So g prime of 2 is equal to 0.